Hello everyone, welcome to new lecture. So in this lecture we will study about torsion of shafts. It is like chapter of your strength of materials. Now when we talk about torsion of shafts, so let's talk about the shaft which is like which is subjected under three types of your moments. Let me show a diagram here. So let's say here is a shaft, and this shaft is under like three axes. Across this cross section there are three axes: xx, yy, and zz. Okay. Now as you know that this axis like xx and yy are transverse axis here. Okay, are transverse axis, and also your act as your neutral axis. Okay, and this axis is your called polar axis. Okay, so there are three movements applied across all three axes. Okay, now if we talk about this mx, so mx is applied in our transverse axis. It means that it will create a bending moment in the shaft. Okay, and bending moment will of course be your zero at neutral axis and will maximum at extreme fibers. Similarly, if I talk about my also your bending moment will be zero at uh, the bending moment will be zero at your neutral axis, and will have like extreme maximum values at extreme fibers. And if we talk about mz, from this mz will be what which will be which is called our twisting moment. This mz is our twisting moment. Okay, what will it do? It won't create a bending moment, it will create a twist in the shaft, not the bending, twisting. Okay, like it will rotate, turn this cross section of the shaft. Okay, now there are some certain difference between your bending moment and turning twisting moment. So let me mention them here. So first let's talk about the bending moment. Bending moment. So first point I would like to talk is the bending moment acts in our transverse plane. Okay, and second point is like in like the plane of cross section rotate about neutral axis. Okay, the plane of cross section rotates about neutral axis. Okay, and if I talk about third point, then I can say, or okay, but we all know that your bending stress or is zero at neutral axis and maximum at extreme fibers. Now if I talk about twisting moment, twisting moments, if I talk about twisting moment, so like here it was acting in your transverse plane, here it's acting in your longitudinal axis, along longitudinal axis, or we can also measure like name it as polar axis. Polar axis. Okay, second point, like the plane of cross section like rotates about polar axis. So plane of cross section rotates about polar axis. Okay, and this twisting moment like this like twisting moment produces shear stress in your shaft, which is like also varies from zero at polar axis and has a value of maximum like zero at polar axis and a maximum value at your extreme fibers or circumference. Okay, now if I talk about the assumptions, in this chapter, so for some we have like already mentioned the material is isotropic, homogeneous, and linear and should obey your Hooke's law. Okay, And I have also, or and this we can we have like some additional assumptions, that is shaft is, or shaft remains perfectly straight and uniform in cross section. Okay, torque is applied, torque or your twisting moment is applied on shaft about polar axis. Okay, or axis of shaft you can also say. If I talk about next point, then I can say for pure torsion, if I talk about for pure torsion, your cross section for pure torsion, cross section must be circular and prismatic. Of course it may be it may be solid or hollow. Okay, solid or, only then like they will be pure torsion. Next point, the plane before twisting remains plane after twisting. What does this mean? This mean like before the twisting, if we assume a plane in the shaft, after twisting that plane remain in like have the same configuration. It means the radius which is straight before the twisting, which will remain straight after twisting. Like at this cross section, let's say if I draw a radius, let's say I have drawn this radius at this cross section. So after twisting also, let's say that it is twisted in certain form, so radius will still be like our same radius. Okay, like it won't be like the radius like the line of radius is bent, is curved, or like the radius is increased. These things must not happen. Okay, so this is our assumption. Now let's talk about the sign convention in your torsion. Of torque. Okay, so let's consider this same diagram, and okay, let me copy it first. Copy. Okay, so we will be using this same diagram, paste, and then again paste. Okay, now let's say that a torque is applied. Okay, let's say that this point is our A, this point is our B. Okay, A and B. Okay, let's say that a torque is applied, and that torque, let's say, is in our clockwise direction. Okay, so let me draw it again. Okay, so let's say this is our torque at B. Okay, and of course this point is our B. Okay, now so due to this action, and let's say that here it is in opposite direction, okay, this is also our TB. Okay, now due to this action of this torque, there will be reaction developed on the fixed end. So since it is like in clockwise direction, so here it should be in your anti-clockwise direction. anti-clockwise direction. So this is our TA, this is our reaction. Okay, here it is in anti-clockwise direction, so here it should be in our clockwise direction. Sorry about that. Okay, this is in our anti-clockwise direction. Now let me draw a shaft here. So if we consider the shafts, let's say this is A, this is B, and of course this is A, this is B. Okay, so there is another way to show the torque, like this is in clockwise direction. So if you use right hand thumb rule in clockwise direction on the face B, so we will show the torque as double arrow, this arrow, and again. Okay, so double arrow is used to indicate torque. Okay, this is our TB, and of course here in anti-clockwise direction, so it's using a right hand thumb rule again, so it will be shown in this as this. Okay, again we will use double arrow to indicate torque. Okay, so this is our positive torque. This TB is positive in clockwise direction, this is positive. Okay, now here if we talk about, so it will be like this. Again torque is indicated by using double arrow. Okay, and here also. Okay, this is TA, this is your TB, and this is your negative or negative. So this B is negative, TB is negative. Okay, and if I want to, let's say, draw the state of stress in both of these bars, if I want to draw the stress of stress, so this is negative, will be positive. Okay, and here we see that this is in clockwise direction, so on the front surface if we see, so here the stress will be in upward direction. Okay, hence this side complementary stress, this is will negative, and by similar complementary stress type, it should be like this. Okay, and here it should be like downward direction. Okay, so here it should be like this, it should be like this, it should be like this here. So this is our state of stress for shaft in pure torsion. Now if we talk about effect of torsion, how the torsion affect the shaft. Okay, so let me draw a figure here first. Effect of torsion, now let's say this is a shaft, and the shaft is fixed at this end, and a torque T is applied at another end. Okay, let's say this center here is O, this here is O dash. Okay, let's say that we have considered a radius R, and the initial points are can be named as, let's say, this is point A, this here is point B, and this here is point C. But after the torque is applied, the point shifts, like this becomes B dash and this becomes C dash. Okay, now so let's also name like at certain radius, let's say that this is our certain radius, and that value of radius is, let's say this is our radius at some random radius R. Okay, let's say this is our point D. Okay, this is our DE, and this point is our F. Okay, so this will become E dash, and this will become F dash. Okay, after rotation and before rotation. Okay, now let's say that L is the total length of this. L is the total length of this shaft, and we have shown this mid section at a small length L. Okay, now I will talk about some angles here. Okay, let's observe the angles what I am mentioning here. Okay, so this angle, like if you see in this cross section we will see this angle. Okay, this angle will be theta. Okay, and this theta is known as angle of twist. Okay, and here also if you see, then this angle will be our, from here to here will be our theta dash, okay, and if you see here, there is no angle here. Okay, because this plane is fixed, so in this plane there won't be any distortion. Now next, if I talk about another angle, that is, let's say that initially the line, like AC line was the initial location of this plane. If we talk about let's say horizontal plane, or let's say that a line on a top of your shaft. Okay, but after application of torque, so this point shift from here to here, so like this line shifts from here to AC to A dash or AC dash. Okay, so this angle is our termed as our gamma, that is also our shear angle. Okay, this is our shear angle. Now if we talk about a certain radius r, so there is also an angle that is created here. Okay, that is here. Okay, and this angle is called gamma dash, let's say gamma dash. Okay, and of course this gamma dash will remain here, like gamma and gamma dash are constant throughout the length. Okay, so let me write the terms that we have defined here. So first term is our theta. Theta is known as our angle of twist. Okay, and theta dash or we can also name it as like maximum angle of twist of shaft and why I have used like a maximum angle term, because maximum at free end the twisting will be maximum. Okay, from here we can see that here the twisting is 0, here theta dash, then again theta. So we can see that twisting the rotation of plane cross section is increasing as we move from fixed end to free end. So we can say that this theta, the angle of twist theta dash, let's say this is angle of twist at L, at distance L. Okay, so we can say that theta dash is directly proportional to L. This is one of our references. Okay, now next, if I talk about gamma, so gamma is our maximum shear strain, and gamma dash is shear strain or maximum shear stress angle, shear strain angle, I can also say it. Okay, angle at r radius. Okay, so here from this I can also say that gamma dash is directly proportional to r. Okay, now from this diagram what I can write that theta A is equal to 0. Theta A, that is the twist angle at our fixed end, okay, is equal to 0 and is less than theta B, that is equal to, that is, this is your theta B, here theta B, that is equal to theta dash. Okay, and this theta B is less than theta C, that is equal to theta and is also theta maximum, that is maximum twist angle for a shaft. Okay, and why is this happening? because we can say that LA is less than LB is less than LC. Okay, I hope you understood till this point. Okay, so now if we talk about the effect of torsion, so from this diagram we can say that there are two effects of torsion. First is in your plane of cross section, that is in circumferential direction, and that distortion, that effect is our twist angle. Okay, the second is normal to plane of cross section in longitudinal direction, and that, sorry about that, and that is your normal to cross section, and that is longitudinal direction, that is this angle, shear angle. Okay, or shear strain angle. Okay, so these two are the effect of torsion. Okay, now shear stress at a distance r is generally shown, given by the formula, that is T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to G theta by L. Okay, so this is our torsion equation. This is our torsion equation, or equation of torsion we can also say. And what let me write the different terms that are shown here. So J, T is of course twisting moment or torque moment or torque. J is your polar moment of inertia. Okay, tau is your shear stress. Okay, R is the radius of shaft, G is your modulus of rigidity, Okay, what else is left? L is the length of shaft, and of course your theta is the angle of twist. Okay, and one more thing I should mention here, like I have discussed in terms of your theta, but if I discuss the phi terms, sorry, gamma term, so we can say that this, from here we can say that your gamma is maximum at R is equal to capital R, that is radius of shaft. Okay, from here what we can say, we know that gamma is given by what is gamma given by? Gamma is given by your tau upon G, and since we are talking about gamma maximum, so this tau should be maximum is equal to R. Okay, sorry, not R, is equal to gamma max. Okay, now if we consider the small shear strain angle, so we can say that tan gamma is equal to gamma. Okay, so tan gamma will be perpendicular upon hypotenuse base. So let's say this is our perpendicular. Okay, and this is our base. So this CC dash will be our, from here if we see, R theta. So this will be equal to R theta, that is perpendicular upon base. Base we can write it as this total length L. So we can write from here that tau max by R is equal to G theta by L. This is exactly our this equation here. Okay, these two parts. Now here we have used small r at any random radius and at any like cross section. Okay, but here it is talking about maximum R and tau max, and at the end of your shaft, at the free end I mean. Okay, now From here we can say one more thing, that is tau is maximum at r is equal to capital R, that is maximum value of r. Okay, and tau maximum is given by, from if we use this okay, so let me do it one by one. So if I consider first two parts, let me move to next page, and if I consider first two part, let's say first analysis we are doing, that is tau by r is equal to g theta by L. Okay, now if I talk about extreme cases, then we can write it as tau max by r is equal to g theta by L. Okay, from this what we can write? We can write tau max is equal to so this is one of equation which will be used frequently in our chapter. Okay, now the second analysis, if I talk about, let's say talk about T by J is equal to tau by, or is equal to, okay, tau by R. Let's talk about tau by R. Okay, or is equal to, we can also write tau max by capital R. Okay, now from here we can write that our tau max value is equal to TR by J, and this can be written as T upon ZP. Now this ZP is our, so let me write it, this ZP is our polar section modulus, polar section modulus of a cross section. Okay, now ZP is defined as your polar moment of inertia upon R. Okay, and if I talk about, so we know the some value of polar section modulus. So J for circular cross section is given by pi by 32 d की power 4. Okay, and J for your hollow cross section, these will be frequently used here. Okay, is given by pi by 32 into d की power 4 into 1 minus k की power 4, where k is equal to small d by capital D. Okay, this is term is also less than 1. Okay, so similarly if we talk about corresponding ZP of your circular section, so this can be written as pi by 16 d cube. Okay, if I talk about for hollow shaft, let's say hollow cross section, so this can be given as pi by 16 into d cube into 1 minus k की power 4. Okay, so this is relation for our Z. Now if I talk about third case, so third case is our T by J is equal to, sorry, we have already, no, okay, so T by J is equal to G theta by L. Okay, so if we discuss this term, so for this we can write it as, or we can also write it as G theta dash by L. Okay, sorry, like I have made a mistake, I think, here. Okay, so this should be our capital L here. Okay, because I have used theta here, na? So, or if I use, like, want to use L, so this should be our theta dash. Okay, so let me write one more term here. Okay, is equal to G theta by L, and here L is the length of shaft. Okay, Okay, so here also this should be our z theta dash by l. Okay, so theta dash by l. Okay, like here you must also be confused why like theta and theta dash and l and l will be cut off, because we know that our theta dash is directly proportional to l. Okay, so this term is always be constant. Okay, theta dash by l is equal to theta by l. Okay, so this will come out to be straight. Next, okay, now everything is correct. Okay, so if I talk about this from this equation, I can write that our theta, it can be written as TL by GJ. Okay, so this is a very important equation and it is frequently used in our total chapter. This equation will be used. Okay, and we also know that theta dash is directly proportional to L, so we can write theta dash by theta is equal to L by capital L. Okay, this is useful in few MCQs questions. Okay, now here few terms I would like to define here. So let's define torsional like term GJ, which we have discussed here. So term GJ combined is known as your torsional rigidity. Torsional rigidity. Okay, torsional rigidity, and its unit is your Newton meter square. Now next we can talk about your term from here also. Let's okay, so theta can also be written as, we know that from like your theory of spring, if you consider it, so we know that theta can be written as T by kt. Okay, and kt is your kt is equal to gj by l. Okay, and this kt, okay, so let me write it kt. Okay, and this kt is known as your torsional stiffness. Torsional stiffness. Okay, its unit is Newton meter per radian. And we know that we can also, like, there is also torsional flexibility term. Torsional flexibility, and that will be equal to L by GJ, and this is our 1 upon torsional rigidity. Okay, inverse of torsional rigidity is your torsional flexibility. Sorry, not rigidity, stiffness. Okay, and one more term we will discuss, that is our, okay, so let me make it a heading. Okay, that is your strength of shaft. Strength of shaft, or you can also call it as, or we can also call it as resisting torque. Resisting torque. Okay, so we can define is that resisting torque TR, or your strength of the shaft is equal to tau times tau permissible times of ZP. Tau permissible types of ZP. Okay, and so from here we can say that for a given material, we can say that resisting torque is directly proportional to your polar section modulus. Okay, and let's compare your polar section modulus of uh, your like circular and hollow shafts. Okay, so these are your polar section modulus. Okay, now let's say here that if your external diameter is same for both, so small d is equal to capital D. Okay, so in that case we can say that zp of your circular shaft or yes, a solid shaft is greater than that of your this hollow, because of the like addition of 1 minus k to power 4 term. Okay, if like the external diameter for both are same, in that case what will happen, your like solid shaft will be stronger than your hollow shaft. But let's say that if we consider that the same amount of material is or same cross section area for both shaft, okay, same cross section area if we use, so in that case opposite thing happen, like we will derive that in further lecture. But let's now move on to next topic. I will discuss it later. So now let's talk about the shear stress distribution. Shear stress distribution in circular, four different sections we will talk about. Okay, basically like here we will talk about circular sections. In circular sections, okay, now there are different type of circular sections possible. So first we will talk about solid circular shaft. Okay, so let me draw the cross section for this. So this is our solid circular shaft. Okay, so let's remove this. Okay, so let's say this is a solid circular shaft. Okay, now what happens in case of solid circular shaft? Let's say this is a diameter d, this is our diameter d. Okay, or let's write it small d. Okay, so we can write that our, as I mentioned earlier, that polar section modulus, polar moment of inertia or is given by pi by 32 d ki power 4. Okay, and zp we can write the polar section modulus as j upon r, that will be written as pi by 16 dq. Okay, and we can write tau is equal to, we know tau is equal to t by zp, so can be written as 16t by pi d cube. Or let me write it in like next line, because this is very important point. Okay, so we can write tau is equal to 16t by pi d cube. So this is our expression for shear stress. Okay, and this shear stress is basically our maximum shear stress, at this point. So let me draw it here. So if this is our diameter, okay, if I want to draw shear stress, so shear stress is maximum at this point. Okay, and similarly in this way here. Okay, and we know that tau is directly proportional to r. So using that concept from center C, we can like draw it like this. Okay, okay, so this is our tau max. Okay, and this is our like neutral axis, or basically we can call that the vertical line, like perpendicular line passing through this plane will be our polar axis. Okay, now next we can talk about second, that is hollow circular shaft. Hollow circular shaft. Okay, So let me draw the whole circular shaft here. So let's say this is our outer circle and this is our inner circle. Okay, so let's say this is our D node. Okay, sorry about that. This is our D node and this dimension is our, let me, D node, and this dimension is our Di. Okay, and we will define a term K here, that is equal to K is equal to die ratio, that is Di upon D node, or like I can also write in like this. So let's call it capital D and small d. Okay, so this will be our small d by capital D. Okay, so if I want to let's say stress distribution here, so stress distribution can be drawn as, let me draw it here, K is equal to D by D and is also less than 1. Now if I want to draw stress distribution, so let me draw a vertical line here. Okay, so what happens that this is our tau max, let's say. Okay, now again the line must pass through this point such that like something like this. Okay, so this is our tau max, this is our tau max, and this is here is our tau minimum. Okay, tau minimum, and stress is here, like there will be no shear stress developed in this region. Okay, 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 and shear stress variation will be like this. I hope you understood this point. Okay, we know that polar moment of inertia for this is given by pi by 32 d की power 4 into 1 minus k की power 4. Okay, and polar section modulus is given by pi by 16 d cube into 1 minus k की power 4, and similarly we can write that tau is equal to, we know that T upon ZP, and can be written as 16 T by pi d cube, but there is an additional term that is 1 minus k to the power 4. Okay, so these are few like formulas which we should like remember. Okay, these are frequently used in your chapter. Okay, this one and this one. Of course, this is also tau maximum. This is also tau maximum, because ZP we are calculating like it is calculated for your maximum distance. Okay, now the third is, we can talk about thin circular tubes. Thin circular tubes with mean radius r, with r is the mean radius. Okay, so let's draw a diagram first. Let's say that this is our, okay, let me like reduce the size first. Okay, copy and paste. let's say that this is our thin circular ring or tube with mean radius r. So let's say that there is a mean radius, this center, your mean radius is somewhere here, and this is r. Okay, okay, so mean radius is r. Now if I want to draw your stress distribution, so it can be shown like this. So since it is thin tube, so we can like make these equal. Okay, so this is perfect, like constant throughout the thickness, we assume it. Okay, this and this. Okay, these are our tau. Okay, this is our stress distribution in case of thin circular tube. So we know that our J can be written for this as 2 pi r cube into T, and T is of course thickness of this tube. Okay, and we can write Zp is equal to 2 pi r square T. Okay, so we can write tau is equal to T upon Zp, so T upon 2 pi r square T. This is our formula. Okay, of course this is the tau max, or tau is constant, like in the tube. Okay, now the fourth one is composite circular shaft. If we have composite circular shaft, okay, so let's say that two concentric, just like we have done in your hollow tube. Okay, but there will be slight difference. Okay, let's say this is our material one. Okay, let me like center it first. Okay, so let me like make it material one. Okay, and let's make it material 2. Material 2. Okay, now if I would like to draw the stress distribution, shear stress distribution, let me do it here. So there are some points which like you should remember first. I will also mention them here. Okay, now what are the main points here? So let me write main points. So we know that since there are two materials, so I can write total torque will be given by T1 plus T2, point number 1. Second, we can write like in point in material 1, tau 1 max can be written as T1 by Zp1, and tau 2 max can be written as T2 by Zp2. Okay, now we can like draw two diagrams here. Okay, so let me like show it first here first. Okay, so here okay, so here I would like to draw your variation of shear strain. Okay, so it will be like constant variation. This is your variation of shear strain. So like we know that shear strain gamma is directly proportional to radius r. Okay, gamma is directly proportional to radius r. So we can try it here. Okay, like this. Now since it is composite and we know that T is generally Like shear stress is generally our T upon ZB, even if like ZB varies for your hollow and this, okay. And from another equation we can see that tau is equal to T upon G, sorry, tau is equal to G times of gamma, okay. If we see this equation, so we can see like although gamma is like for same for this point, but there is the change in value of G, so there will be some changes here, okay, in the like some jump discontinuity here in the stress distribution, okay. So let's say this is our tau 2 max, okay. Now it will vary linearly, suppose linearly vary, and at this point let's say it reaches this value, so this is okay. So this value is our, let me make it clear once more, okay. So this value is our tau 1 max, okay. This is variation. Now here again it will reach some value and then again like this is our tau 2, okay. So the standardization will be something like this, okay. So we have discussed how to like how is the shear stress distribution in your different type of circular cross sections. Now if I talk about designing of shaft, if I talk about shaft design, so shaft design is basically done using like two criterias, criteria 1 and criteria 2. Criteria 1 is our strength criteria, and the second is our stiffness criteria, okay. So what happens in strength criteria, we like do tau maximum, tau max in the system or in the shaft must be less than equal to tau permissible. This is our strength criteria, okay. If I talk about stiffness criteria, so theta of the shaft at free end, of course theta max must be less than equal to your theta permissible. This is your stiffness criteria, okay. And we can write theta is equal to TL by GJ, TL by GJ. This maximum value must be less than equal to TL by GJ, or let me write it like this, our, because in generally our question theta permission will be given, okay, or even if it not given, so we can like calculate theta is equal to TL by GJ, okay. And here tau is given by T upon ZP, okay. Got it? Now we will discuss next topic, that is power transmitted by shaft, okay. So so what is the power that can be transferred using a shaft? So we know that if for like n if n RPM is given, so our angular velocity given by like 2 pi n by 60, okay. You know this, okay. Now this power is equal to mean torque, or let's write T into omega, and omega is our angular velocity. We also write power is equal to 2 pi n T by 60, okay. This is the widely used formula, okay. And this generally gives in a watt, okay. and of course we use T is in our Newton meter, then we get this in watt. Okay, so this is our formula of power. Now let's say I want to compare the power transferred with the help of your solid. Compare the power transferred by solid shaft and a whole shaft. Okay, now to comparison, like there are two different conditions that may arise. First is like the outer diameter of both, like diameter of both your solid and hollow remains same, or area and length of material are same for both cases. Let me show it here. Okay, so let me put it next heading. So comparison of solid and hollow shafts power transmission capacity. Okay, so there are two cases we will see. First case is when dia length and material remain same. Okay, so let's say that this is our solid shaft. Okay, and we have a hollow shaft. Copy. Okay, and hollow shaft, let me place it here. Okay, this is our hollow shaft. Okay, and the outer dia for both is given by like here we will use D and here we will use capital D. Okay, and this dia is our or D1. Okay, now what I can do, I can write so since our outer dia is same, so I can write that so we can write torque is equal to like ZP, that is polar section modulus, into your tau permeable. This is our we talk about resisting torque na for strength of material. From here we can write torque is equal to this. Okay, so now let's say that we want to compare power transmission capacity of your solid upon by power transmission capacity of hollow shaft can be written as T times of omega for our solid upon T times of omega for hollow. Okay, now for T of solid into omega solid, so T of solid is equal to, we can write it as ZP for solid. So for solid, ZP is equal to pi by 16 d cube, or we can write it as like d cube, capital D cube. Okay, and for this let's write it like D only. Okay, this is capital D, this is our small d. Okay, now we can write it this into tau permissible. Okay, so since materials are same, so tau permissible for both are same, both will be same. Pi by 16 d cube into 1 minus k to the power 4 tau permissible. Okay, now this will be multiplied by omega, both numerator and denominator, and since both speed are same, So we can write that power transmission capacity of solid upon power transmission capacity of hollow can be given as, here like all terms will be like obsolete each other, and only this will be left, 1 minus k की power 4. Okay, so from here since we know that k is less than 1, we know this. Okay, implies that our like this term, so let me mention here, so this term will be like, since this value is less than 1, so this value will be greater than 1. Okay, and because, let me write it in here, reason, because our k value is less than 1, so this value is greater than 1. So what we can say, so we can say that power transmission capacity of solid shaft is greater than power transmission capacity of hollow shaft. This is our conclusion from here. Okay, and what can, like, this is our advantage, we can say this is our advantage. And what is the disadvantage? Okay, so like we can say here, like there is solid material, like solid shaft, and we have drilled a hole in it, and drilling hole we have removed some mass from it. Okay, so we can say that weight of solid shaft is greater than weight of hollow shaft. Okay, so this is our disadvantage. Okay, now let's say if if we assign the value of k, if k is equal to 1/2, if we take k is equal to 1/2, so we can write PTC of solid by PTC of hollow can be given as 1.07. Okay, now currently we have discussed like if it had same dia length and material remains same. Now we will move to second condition, and second condition we will give is a same area, length and material. Okay, so what does same area indicate here? Same area indicate, okay, same area indicate that area of cross section remains same. So let's say this is our solid cross section, solid. Okay, so if I want to draw hollow, so hollow will be something like this. Okay, so let's say that the diameter for this is our small d. Okay, and for this we have, this is our capital D. Okay, or capital D, and this is our D1. Let's say this is D1. Okay, or DI I can write it. Okay, so so same area means that area of, okay, same area means area of solid is equal to area of hollow. So how we can write area of solid is pi by 4 d square. Okay, this will be equal to pi by 4 times of d square minus di square. This is our relationship. Okay, so from here what we can write, we can write that d square is equal to d square times of 1 minus k square. Okay, this we know. Okay, so we can write that small d by capital D is equal to root of 1 minus k square, 1 minus k square. Okay, and this will be used in our okay, so no, this won't be used. Okay, but this value is our less than 1, we can say. Okay, so we can say that this diameter of solid shaft must be less than that of diameter of your hollow shaft for same year. This you can also like get from this, okay. And from there we can say that it has a disadvantage, and that is that hollow shaft require more space, okay. Now if I talk about your power transmission capacity, so let's write PTC for solid upon PTC for hollow can be written as T omega of solid upon T omega of hollow, okay. Now T we know that it is our ZP time per tau permissible, so power was pi by 16 dq times of tau permissible into omega, okay, divided by pi by 16 times of d cube into 1 minus k की power 4 times of tau permissible into omega. So this can be written as d by d की power 3 times of 1 upon 1 minus k की power 4, okay. So we can write that PTC for solid upon PTC for hollow can be written as, now d by d we have calculated here is root of 1 minus k square, okay. So we can write it as like this will be our 1 minus k square times of power 3 by 2, okay, divided by 1 minus k की power 4. So we can write it as 1 minus k square into 1 plus k square, okay. So this can be written as is equal to 1 minus k square root divided by 1 plus k square, okay. And this is like this relation is also to be like known by you, and this value will also be always less than 1, okay, because this value will be always greater than 1 and this value will be less than 1, so this total value can combine to be less than 1. So hence from here we can say that power transmission capacity of solid is less than that of power transmission capacity of hollow. This is its advantage, okay. Now if I substitute, if k is equal to 1 by 2, if we substitute here, or let me like I will mention it later, okay. So this is it, okay. Now like I would like to conclude it in like 2 points here. So first point is, for a given diameter, that is radial space is constraint. For a given solid shaft is preferred over hollow shaft, and of course here we are talking about your circular shafts, okay, because they have higher power transmission capacity, okay, and this is because ZP of solid is greater than ZP of hollow, okay. And second point, for a given cross section area, our hollow shafts are preferred over solid shafts, okay. And this is due to their higher higher power transmission capacity. Okay, and this is because ZP of hollow is greater than ZP of solid in case of your same area. Okay, now if I draw a table here, so I can write here for given dia and K is equal to 1 by 2. Okay, I will write some details here, and these details are like area of solid upon area of hollow. If we compare, this will be 1 upon 1 minus K square, and if we substitute K is equal to 1 by 2, so this will be 1.33. Okay, now if I write inertia, moment of inertia, area moment of inertia, solid upon hollow, or we can write like polar. Okay, or I can write ZP of solid upon ZP of hollow. Okay, so this will be equal to our 1 upon 1 minus K की power 4, and this value is 1.07, basically 16 upon 15. Okay, and this value is 4 by 3. 1.33 is equal to 1.07. Now if I talk about for a given area and K is equal to half, for this condition, if I talk about the ratios, so let me write them here. Okay, so our ds by dh will be given by root of 1 minus K square. Okay, and if we substitute the values, we will get it is equal to 0.87. If I talk about inertia's ratio, Is upon IH is equal to Js upon JH. Okay, and this will be equal to 1 minus K square upon 1 plus K square. Okay, and this will be equal to your 3 by 5 is equal to 0.6. Okay, now if I talk about your Zs upon Zh, or your Zp of solid upon Zp of hollow, so this value will be equal to root of 1 minus K square upon 1 plus K square, and if I substitute the values here, so we will get is equal to 0.693, which will be equal to 0.7. Okay, so these are some standard data if you substitute it here. Okay, these are often asked in your examination. Now we will be moving to our next topic. So now we will start our next topic, that is series combination of shafts. Okay, so let me draw a diagram for a reference. How does series combination of shaft look like? Okay, so let's say that this is a fixed wall. Sorry about that. Let's say this is our fixed wall. Okay, now we will install let's say that a shaft is fixed from this surface. Okay, let's say this is the size of the shaft. Okay, okay, so this is the shaft which is okay, attached to this fixed surface. Okay, so let's say that okay, now a smaller shaft is again fixed to this one. So let's say that a smaller shaft is fixed to this one. Okay, ठीक. Okay, now let's name this point A. Okay, and let me do some. Okay, now let's name this place A. This is B, this is C. Okay, let's say that AB has length L1. Okay, and BC has length L2. Okay, now here let's say torque T is applied at the free end. Okay, let's say this is torque T. Okay, now what happened? Due to this application of torque T, there will be two, like here it will be theta BC for shaft, theta BC in BC shaft, and theta AB be the turn or be twist in our AB shaft. Okay, so what we can write there, like T is equal to T1 is equal to T2. Okay, let's name this one, this is 2. Okay, so torque in both will remain same, and that is equal to the given value. Okay, if I talk about theta, so theta AC or theta at C, if I say theta at C, twisted C, will be equal to theta between AB plus theta between BC. Okay, so we can calculate theta AC is equal to TL1 by G1 J1 plus TL2 by G2 J2. Okay, so this is the concept for our shafts in series. So shaft in series, our torque transmitted from one shaft to another is constant. Okay, torque in all the series shaft is same. Now next we are going to discuss is parallel combination of shaft of shafts. Okay, so let me draw a diagram for this too. So let's say that this is our fixed support. Okay, and let's say this is our one shaft. Okay, now let's say that another shaft of a smaller diameter is installed inside this. So let me like use the same circle paste. I will reduce the size of this, and then it is placed inside this. So this is our shaft 2. Okay, this is our shaft 2. So let me connect them. Okay, so this is our shaft 1 and shaft 2. Let me like create a okay, so this is our shaft 1. So let's say that this is end A and B, and a torque T is applied at this end B. Okay, let's say this is our outer shaft, this is our inner shaft, A1 and 2, and L length for both are same. Okay, so if I write the equation, so I can write that T is equal to T1 plus T2. Okay, so the shafts are parallel connected. So in that, what happens, that our theta 1 twist is same for both. Okay, so I can write T1 L by G1 J1 is equal to T2 L by G2 J2. Okay, so these both equations are, this T is equal to T1 plus T2, and or basically this theta 1 is equal to theta 2. Okay, and in case of series, this T is equal to T1 is equal to T2, and theta is equal to summation of both thetas. Okay, so these are the important points. Let's move to next topic. Now let's talk about the strain energy. Now let's talk about strain energy in torsion. Strain energy in torsion. Okay, so the strain energy U, or torsional strain energy, is given by half into T into theta, torque into, or applied torque into angle of twist. So this is our relationship. Okay, now if I want to write strain energy per unit volume, or let me write strain energy per unit volume, so we can write U is equal to tau square by 2g. Okay, and this tau square by 2g is known as your shear resilience. Okay, now let's say that I want to calculate the shear stress, or sorry, strain energy inside stored inside your stored in sorry, I mean the strain energy during a torsion. Okay, so let's proceed. So we can write that strain energy is equal to integration of tau square by 2g into dv. Okay, now if we consider, let's say system, let me draw it here. So let's consider this system where we have applied a torque, let's say T, at the free end. Okay, and let's say that R is the radius of your bar. Okay, so if I, let's say, want to draw its profile, so it would look something like this. Okay, so from the center it is distance r. Okay, now let's say that at a distance small r we have considered an element having width of dr. Okay, and let's say that L is the length of this shaft. So we can say that this U is equal to integration of tau square by 2g into dv. If I want to write, I can write the dv for element as 2 pi r into dr into L. Now the variable here is r, and r varies from 0 to capital R. Okay, so if I want to calculate the u, so I can like differentiate it, and I will obtain it as t square or but now if we look at tau, then tau also varies, like tau is a function of r. Okay, so we can substitute using your torsion equation. We can write tau is equal to t by j into r. So okay, so if we substitute it here, so we will obtain integration of t square r square upon j square into 2g times of 2 pi r into dr into L. Okay, so and of course 0 to r. So if I integrate this, I will obtain u is equal to t square L by 2g j square into pi d की power 4 by 32. So if we we know that pi d power 4 32 is known as IP, sorry, j, that is polar moment of inertia. So you can write u is equal to t square L by 2g j. Okay, so this is the very important relation. This is will be your useful in this chapter. Okay, and you can also write in integral form. Like from here you can also write in integral form as u is equal to u, or let me write it, u is equal to integration of t square dx by 2g j. Okay, if shaft is let's say that's some variation in your torque or some variation in your polar moment of inertia or material. Okay, so you can use this material, this formula. Okay, now if I want to calculate this shear strain energy in terms of, let's say, tau. Okay, let's say tau. Okay, so in the above equation I have mentioned u is equal to integration of 0 to r. Now instead of tau square I can write it as tau max square by, so we know that tau by small r is equal to tau max by r square. Okay, so this will become like this. Okay, I hope you understood till here. Now divide by 2g into 2 pi r dr into L. So if we integrate this, so I will obtain strain energy u. So we will obtain strain energy u is equal to our value will become tau max square is constant, so we can take it out of integration, divide by 4g into pi r square times of L. Okay, so we will obtain u is equal to tau max square by 4g into volume. Okay, so you must also remember this formula. So this is the important one. Okay, so one is this formula I already mentioned. This formula is also important. Okay, now if I let's say want to calculate is in your I mean calculate it for your hollow shaft. Okay, so in a hollow shaft what will happen, our this u will be, the limit is from r1 to or ri to r node. Okay, and again the same equation that is here, it will remain same, everything will remain same. Okay, now if we solve this, so we will obtain u is equal to tau max square by 4g times of r node square plus ri square divided by r node square. Okay, so this is our of course into multiplied by volume. This is our relation for strain energy in case of your hollow shaft. Okay. So now there is one topic, like we have already calculated your torsion and twist for your solid and hollow shaft. Let's talk about torsion in thin walled tubes. Okay, so let's say that there are certain like a terms I would like to define. Let's say R is the mean radius, T is the thickness, of course. Okay, and I will define an area AM term which will be equal to pi r square. Okay, and this AM is known as your area bounded by mean, is your area bounded by mean radius. Okay, now so we can write that the tau shear stress in this tube will be equal to T by Zp. We know T by Zp. Okay, and Zp for your thin wall 2 is given by 2 pi r square T. Okay, so we can write that tau is equal to T by 2 am into T. This is our shear stress in thin wall tube. Okay, now if I would like to talk about the strain energy. So strain energy, so we will use the same thing here, like small strain energy is equal to tau square by 2g into dv. Okay, so we can write du is equal to, so we can write tau is equal to T upon 2 amt. Okay, so we will obtain T square upon, no sorry, this will become 4 times of am square T square into 2g into dv. If we talk about, so dv we can write it as, let's say that ds is the perimeter in certain region. Okay, into thickness into L is your what will this will be your volume. Okay, so if we integrate on this on both sides, so from here we will obtain strain energy is equal to T square L will remain same, divided by 8 am square g times of integration of ds by t. Okay, so this is the formula for strain energy. Okay, and your T, sorry, and S is your perimeter of mean line. So like this formula will be applicable even if, let's say, it is your rectangular or rectangular thin section also. Okay, so in that case your AM will be become length into breadth. Okay, and everything will remain same. I hope you understood it here, because here like I have used the term perimeter. Okay, so perimeter for your circular will be 2 pi r, and let's say for your for your rectangular will be 2 into L plus B. Okay, so using this you can calculate. Okay, now if we talk about twist in the thin tube, so TL by GJ. Okay, this will be the okay, this. Okay, and of course this is theta is calculated in terms of radian. If you have to like convert it into your degree, so you have to multiply it by theta into 180 by pi is in your like degree now. Okay, so you have to like remember this in questions. Okay, and J for I should have mentioned here J. No, okay, so for thin wall tube J is equal to your 2 pi r cube T. I mentioned previously in the previous topics. Okay, there is one more thing I would like to mention in your series and parallel connection. Okay, So I have mentioned that theta is equal to summation. So like if like there is like not the stepwise variation, there is some linear variation, or there is some like variation in very small lengths, or continuous variations. So you can use integration of d theta, integration of d theta. Okay, stripwise you can do. Okay, similarly in here like theta will remain same. Okay, now let's move to next topic, and this next topic is indeterminate shaft. Okay, so like if let's say that your shaft is rigidly held between, or let me write it here, definition. Fixed between two supports. So such case is known as your indeterminate shaft. Okay, so for such cases, for what we have to do, we have to like use a right hand thumb rule. Okay, so let's say that any question is given, so like you have to like use the arrow form. Okay, either this form or this form, and then we will proceed as your like we proceed in your axially loaded, as proceed in axially loaded bars. Okay, or like we can use some indeterminate equation, like we can say that theta shaft, and like say theta 1, like shaft is in two portions, like torque is applied in the mid portion, so we can say theta 1 plus theta 2 is equal to 0. Okay, because shaft is fixed. Okay, or we can say that torque is equal to T1, or let's say summation of Ti. Okay, or here let me write summation of theta I, number of parts. Okay, so using these equations we will proceed in such type of question. We will see some examples in your like question session. Okay, but currently let's proceed with this only. Okay, now we will start our next topic. Now in this topic, next topic, we will like study the combined effect of bending moment and twisting moment on the shaft, which generally happens. Okay, so let me write the topic here. Shaft subjected to combined bending and twisting moments. Okay, so what happens in such cases? So let's consider an element under the shaft, element on the shaft. Okay, and let's say that this element will be under the effect of your bending moment. Let's say bending stress sigma b is equal to 32 m by pi dq. This we know. Okay, and so similarly this will be acting in this direction only. Okay, now your shear stress will be, let's say, acting in this direction. Okay, and tau is given by 16 t by pi dq. Okay, so what we can say from this figure, we can say that our sigma x is equal to 32 m by pi dq, and sigma y is equal to 0. Tau xy is equal to 16 t by pi dq. Okay, now if I want to calculate it, let's say principal stresses, so I know sigma 1 2 is given by sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2 plus minus square root of सिग्मा एक्स माइनस सिग्मा वाई डिवाइड बाय 2 का स्क्वायर प्लस tau xy square. Okay, so this is your principal stresses. Okay, now if you substitute the values, so we will obtain, let's say that if we substitute this value, so we will obtain sigma 1 comma 2 is equal to, now if we substitute this sigma x and sigma y, so we will obtain 16 m by pi d cube plus minus square root of 16 m by pi d cube square plus 16 t by pi d cube, okay, square. So we can write it as 16 by pi d cube times of m plus minus square root of m square plus t square. So we know that we can write sigma is equal to sigma, or we can write like principal stress like sigma 1, we can write sigma 1 is equal to, this is maximum stress, okay, 16 me equivalent bending moment by pi d cube is equal to 16 by pi d cube times of m plus minus, sorry, here 32, sorry about that, 32 m by pi d cube 16 m plus minus square root of m square plus t square. Okay, so we can write equivalent bending moment is equal to half of m plus minus square root of m square plus t square. Okay, this is your equivalent bending moment. Okay, now if I talk about twisting moment, so I can say that tau max is equal to your sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2. So from here I will obtain it as 16 by pi d cube times of square root of m square plus t square. Okay, now if I substitute tau max is equal to 16 t by pi d cube is equal to, okay, let's substitute t is equal to 16 t, tau max is equal to 16 t by pi d cube. From here I will obtain te is equal to square root of m square plus t square. Okay, this is our equivalent twisting moment. Okay, so these equivalent bending moment and equivalent twisting moment are generally used when we want to study our failure theories of failure, apply theories of failure in case of these questions. Okay, now the same approach we can also use in case, let's say that our axial force plus torque is applied on a shaft. Okay, so if I draw the stress element here, so this will be our sigma direct. Okay, and that will be equal to your, let's say 4p by pi d square. Okay, similarly this in this side, and again the torque will be tau is equal to 16t by pi d cube. Okay, so I can obtain sigma 1 comma 2 is equal to sigma d by 2 plus minus square root of sigma d by 2 square plus tau xy square. Okay, if I apply this I can obtain our both principal stresses. Okay, and I can obtain tau max is equal to, okay, sorry, so this is it. Okay, so this will be our principal stress in its end. Okay, sorry, principal stresses. Okay, if I want to let's say calculate tau max, so I can do sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2. Okay, those are I think. from the previous cases we have discussed. And one more point I would like to discuss when we have discussed like thin wall tubes. So here our theta is generally given by let me mention it here. So theta is given by theta is written here, no? Okay, so this theta is given by your del u by del t. This is also the expression. Okay, so like we can directly use this equation to calculate theta here. Okay, so this will be it for this lecture, and in next question session we will solve some questions on your torsion and shaft. After that we will start our next chapter, and thank you for this lecture.